Sometimes, a small promise becomes the reason we try harder than we ever expected. For Cutis, BUEM's simple wish was more than a request to eat somewhere special. It became an opportunity for him to express the love of an older brother through effort, patience, and the determination to keep his promise. The weather in the countryside was beautiful that day. The sky was clear, and gentle sunlight covered the road in front of the house. A soft breeze moved through the trees, creating a peaceful and comfortable atmosphere. BUEM was sitting alone beside the road. He kept looking from one side to the other. BUEM seemed to be watching people pass and enjoying the quiet beauty of the day. However, the place where he was sitting was not safe. Cutis came up from the lower part of the house and noticed someone sitting alone in the distance. He stopped and looked carefully until he realized it was BUEM. Cutis immediately became worried. He hurried outside as quickly as possible. Cutis firmly warned BUEM that sitting alone beside the road was dangerous. People and vehicles could pass at any time. If BUEM was not careful, something could happen before anyone was able to help him. BUEM looked at Mortfei, his brother, and lowered his face slightly. Cutis did not want to make him sad. He only spoke firmly because he truly cared about BUEM's safety. Cutis gently reached out, intending to take him back home. At that moment, however, BUEM began imagining something exciting. He pictured the two brothers sitting together inside a restaurant. Cold drinks and delicious food would be placed in front of them. They could eat, talk, and enjoy their time together. BUEM looked at Cutis and said that he wanted to go to a restaurant. The request surprised Cutis. He looked at BUEM's hopeful face and happily agreed. Cutis believed it could become a meaningful outing. He could move BUEM away from the dangerous roadside and also fulfill his little brother's wish. Cutis lifted BUEM, carried him to the vehicle, and carefully helped him sit down. He asked BUEM to wait. Cutis needed to go inside and collect some money before they left. BUEM remained on the vehicle and waited happily. In his mind, their journey to the restaurant had already begun. Cutis hurried into the house. He opened the cabinet, found his familiar money bag, and checked it with excitement. But as soon as he looked inside, the smile disappeared from his face. The bag was empty. Cutis searched carefully, hoping that he had missed a little money in another pocket. He checked every section, but there was nothing. Cutis began to panic. He had promised to take BUEM to the restaurant. His younger brother was outside waiting with excitement. Yet Cutis had no money to fulfill the promise. He sat down with a disappointed expression. Cutis was not sad because he could not buy something for himself. He felt sad because BUEM might be disappointed. Cutis did not want to walk outside and announce that the outing was cancelled. He had seen the happiness in BUEM's eyes and wanted to keep his word. He placed a hand on his forehead and tried to think. If he had no money, he needed to find a suitable way to earn some. After thinking for a long time, Cutis' eyes suddenly brightened. He had created a plan. Cutis quickly selected clean clothes, carried them downstairs, and placed them carefully inside a plastic bag. He prepared the outfit so he could change after finishing his work. Then Cutis carried the bag outside and placed it on the vehicle. BUEM was still waiting and did not know what had happened inside. Cutis did not explain that he had run out of money. He simply smiled, climbed onto the vehicle, and began following his plan to earn enough money to take BUEM to the restaurant. Cutis drove away from home with a clear determination. He did not want to ask someone for money, simply to fulfill his promise. Cutis wanted to earn what he needed through his own effort. After traveling for a while, Cutis stopped in front of a neighbor's house. He climbed down, adjusted his clothing, and politely went inside. Cutis explained that he wanted permission to harvest some vegetables from the garden. He planned to sell them at the market and earn enough money to take BUEM to a restaurant. The neighbor listened to Cutis. Seeing his seriousness and sincerity, the neighbor happily agreed. Cutis thanked the neighbor with excitement and quickly returned to the vehicle. He brought it closer to the garden so he could easily load the vegetables after harvesting them. When Cutis saw the garden, he became deeply interested. Rows of fresh green vegetables grew neatly before him. The healthy leaves moved gently in the breeze. The entire garden looked cool, fresh, and full of life. Cutis did not immediately begin picking. He observed for a moment because he wanted to choose the best vegetables. Cutis understood that customers at the market would want produce that was fresh, clean, and undamaged. He climbed down from the vehicle, carried his bag, and began harvesting. Cutis carefully selected the greenest bundles. He handled every vegetable gently, so the leaves would not become bruised. After collecting each bundle, Cutis inspected it closely. Damaged leaves were separated. The freshest vegetables were arranged neatly on the vehicle. BUEM remained nearby and watched him work. He began to understand that Cutis needed to work hard before they could go to the restaurant. BUEM was no longer thinking only about delicious food. He watched his brother's hands continuously harvesting each bundle. Cutis worked seriously. He did not complain or stop halfway. His promise to BUEM remained in his thoughts. After some time, the vehicle was filled with many vegetables. Cutis checked the garden and made sure that he had harvested only the amount the neighbor allowed. Then he arranged the bundles carefully so they would not crush one another. Cutis thanked the neighbor once more. He climbed onto the vehicle and began returning home. When he arrived, Cutis collected 2 hats. He placed one on his own head and gently put the other on BUEM. The journey to the market would be long, and the sunlight was still bright, so Cutis wanted BUEM brothers to remain protected. BUEM sat happily on the vehicle. Cutis checked the vegetables, the bag of clothes, and every necessary item. When he knew everything was ready, he began taking BUEM and the vegetables toward the market. As he traveled, Cutis admired the scenery on both sides. Green fields stretched beneath the sunlight. Trees along the road moved gently in the breeze. The countryside made the journey feel peaceful. But Cutis did not forget his goal. He needed to sell all the vegetables. Only after earning enough money could his promise to take BUEM to the restaurant become real. When Cutis reached the market, he began searching for a suitable place. The market was crowded. Sellers introduced their products, while customers moved between stalls and purchased vegetables, fruit, and other food. Cutis believed that in such a busy place, his vegetables would sell quickly. He chose a position that appeared convenient and stopped the vehicle. Cutis unloaded the vegetables and arranged them in front of the brothers. BUEM sat beside him with a hopeful expression. They began waiting patiently. People continued walking past. Some looked toward Cutis but did not stop. Others slowed down briefly before continuing to another stall. Cutis tried to remain calm. He believed that if they waited longer, someone would certainly buy the vegetables. But time passed and no customer stopped. BUEM looked at Cutis and began to appear disappointed. Cutis also became worried. If he could not sell the vegetables, he would not earn money. Without money, the restaurant promise might not be fulfilled. Cutis looked around the market. Many people were clearly buying vegetables. Nearby sellers continued receiving customers, while Cutis's produce remained untouched. He did not understand why. Cutis did not immediately give up. Instead, he began closely observing how the other sellers prepared their products. He looked toward a nearby vegetable stall. Their bundles had been cleaned, arranged evenly, and tied neatly. Each bundle had a similar size, making it easy for customers to inspect and choose. Then Cutis looked back at his vegetables. They were still fresh, but the bundles were not arranged neatly. Some had not been tied, making his display appear less attractive than the others. Cutis understood the problem. His vegetables were not bad. They simply had not been presented in a way that encouraged customers to stop. Cutis placed a hand on his forehead and thought. He needed to clean and rearrange everything, but he did not know exactly how. Doing it by himself in the middle of the market could take a long time. After observing for a while, Cutis created a plan. He collected the vegetables, carefully loaded them onto the vehicle, and took BUEM toward another shop. Cutis politely asked the seller to help clean and arrange his bundles. The seller looked at Mortfi, the two brothers, and their unsold vegetables. After hearing Cutis explain that he was trying to earn money to take his younger brother to a restaurant, the seller happily agreed. Each vegetable bundle was inspected. Unattractive pieces were removed. The vegetables were cleaned, divided into suitable portions, and tied neatly. Cutis watched closely. He realized that the vegetables were exactly the same, but careful preparation made them appear much fresher and more appealing. When the work was finished, the seller placed the bundles back on Cutis' vehicle. Cutis thanked the seller with happiness. BUEM looked at the newly prepared vegetables, and hope returned to his eyes. The first failure did not make Cutis give up. It helped him recognize a weakness and learn how to improve. Cutis continued searching for a new location. This time, he did not select a place, only because many people passed through it. He observed more carefully and found a position where customers could easily see the neatly prepared vegetables. When he found a suitable place, Cutis stopped. He unloaded each bundle and arranged everything carefully. The best-looking vegetables were placed in front, so passing customers could immediately notice their freshness. BUEM sat beside him. The brothers began waiting again. Before long, a customer stopped. The person looked at the neatly tied vegetables and picked up a bundle to inspect it. The produce was fresh, clean, and divided into convenient portions. The customer decided to buy it. When Cutis received the first payment, his eyes brightened with happiness. He looked toward BUEM, who smiled excitedly. After the first customer, other people began noticing the stall. One person purchased a bundle. Another selected several. The vegetables on the vehicle gradually disappeared. Cutis thanked every customer. He carefully accepted the money, checked it, and placed it safely inside his bag. BUEM remained beside him and happily watched. He understood that Cutis had not given up after no one purchased the vegetables at the first location. His brother observed, learned, and tried again. Finally, the last bundle was sold. The vehicle was empty. Cutis checked the money he had earned. It was enough to fulfill his promise to BUEM. The sadness and worry Cutis had felt at Mortfi home were replaced by happiness and pride. He had not asked someone to give him money for the restaurant. He had used effort, patience, and a willingness to learn. Cutis held BUEM close. He felt grateful that his younger brother had waited patiently throughout the harvesting and selling process. BUEM was happy too, but his happiness no longer came only from the approaching meal. He felt proud of Cutis. His brother had kept the promise, despite every difficulty. Cutis took the bag of clothes he had prepared at home. He quickly changed into the clean outfit, adjusted everything neatly, and returned to BUEM. When he was ready, the brothers climbed onto the vehicle and traveled directly toward the restaurant. The journey from the market was not very long, but for Cutis it carried many emotions. He remembered discovering the empty money bag. He remembered asking the neighbor for permission to harvest vegetables. He remembered sitting at the market without a single customer. And he remembered the happiness of selling the first bundle. Every difficulty had brought Cutis closer to keeping his promise. Finally, the restaurant appeared ahead. BUEM looked forward, with heart excitement. Cutis smiled. He had truly brought his little brother to the place he wanted to visit. When they reached the restaurant, Cutis and BUEM happily hurried inside. BUEM looked around with heart great excitement. This was exactly the scene he had imagined while sitting beside the road. There were neatly arranged tables and chairs. There were many foods and drinks. The atmosphere made BUEM extremely happy. Cutis selected a suitable place for the brothers to sit. He checked the money he had earned and began ordering. Cutis chose several foods they both enjoyed. He also ordered drinks, so BUEM could experience exactly what he had wished for. When the food arrived, BUEM looked at the table with unmistakable joy. But before eating, he turned toward Cutis. BUEM understood that the meal had not appeared without effort. Behind every delicious dish was his brother's long journey. Cutis had worried when he discovered the empty money bag. He had found a way to harvest vegetables. He had waited patiently at the market. He had learned to improve the presentation after receiving no customers. And finally, he had earned the money through his own work. The brothers began eating. BUEM took a sip of his drink and smiled. It was the moment he had imagined from the beginning.